Naofumi Iwatani, a young college student in Japan who loves staying indoors and reading light novels. While reading one day, he's suddenly transported to a different world along with 3 other guys. When he regains consciousness, he's surrounded by cloaked men who label them as heroes. Naofumi realizes he's been designated as the shield hero, while the others are the spear hero, Madoyasu, the sword hero, Ren, and the bow hero, Itsuki. They're taken to meet the king, who appears distant towards Naofumi. The following day, adventurers are invited to join the heroes' parties. Surprisingly, no one chooses to join Naofumi's party, a problem since he's a defensive-focused shield hero. However, a girl named Mine, who is part of Madoyasu's party, decides to join Naofumi. They venture out together, defeating low-level monsters and selling their loot. Naofumi becomes fond of Mine's company and buys armor for her. But things take a drastic turn. Naofumi wakes up to find everything stolen except his shield. When he confronts Mine, she falsely accuses him of attempting to assault her. The king and others believe her, leading Naofumi to feel betrayed. He realizes Mine's plan, and even Madoyasu is involved. Frustrated, Naofumi wants to return home, but the king says they can only leave after defeating waves of monsters. Naofumi leaves the palace, humiliated and despised due to false accusations. He fights monsters in the forest and sells their drops. Later, he's attacked by thugs during a meal but manages to defeat them using a balloon monster still attached to him. Feeling limited in his offensive abilities, he catches the attention of a slave trader. Intrigued by the offer, Naofumi enters the trader's tent to explore the option of buying slaves, who are supposedly bound by a spell to obey their masters. Naofumi checks out the slaves and picks a sickly girl named Raphtalia because she's the only one he can afford. He takes her along, and the next day, he buys her a small sword from a shop. He encourages her to kill a balloon monster that he's been carrying. At first, she's scared and unsure, but he commands her. When she hesitates, she's hurt by a slave's crest, a magical mark, and decides to stab the monster, killing it. Later, he takes her to a tavern to eat, surprising her as she's never had a proper meal as a slave. They bond quickly, and she gets better at monster hunting. They move to a different town and enter a mine to mine minerals for money. They're attacked by a scary 2-headed dog-like monster. Raphtalia is terrified because this kind of monster had destroyed her village and killed her parents. Naofumi protects her and tells her to attack the monster. But when he sees how scared she is, he tells her to run away while he distracts the monster. This shocks her, but she gathers courage and stabs the monster in the neck. The monster tries to hurt her, but Naofumi summons a shield to protect her. She takes a leap and stabs the monster in the chest, killing it. A week goes by, and Raphtalia grows stronger, getting good at hunting monsters. She takes Naofumi to a shop to buy him armor because he keeps getting hurt while protecting her. She gets a sword and armor for herself too. They visit a place called the Dragon Hourglass, which shows when the next wave of monsters will arrive. Naofumi realizes the wave is coming sooner than expected. As he's leaving, he bumps into the other 3 heroes. He ignores them, but one of them, Madoyasu, holds Raphtalia's hand and tells her to leave Naofumi. She refuses, so he asks her if she's heard the rumors about Naofumi. This makes Naofumi angry, and he pulls her away. That night, Raphtalia asks Naofumi about what happened between all the heroes, but he doesn't answer. The next day, the wave arrives, and the heroes are taken to different places. Naofumi realizes that the village where they fought the dog-like monster hasn't been evacuated. He decides to go there to distract the monsters. He asks Raphtalia to help the villagers escape. He defends all the villagers and then climbs a bell tower. He rings the bells loudly to attract the monsters. He sets the tower on fire and jumps down, killing many monsters. Some villagers get motivated by his actions and decide to join the fight. A big monster threatens a villager, but Naofumi defends him. Raphtalia steps in and kills the monster in one attack. Suddenly, a bright flare appears in the sky and fire starts falling. Naofumi shields Raphtalia from it. Royal knights arrive in the village and put out the flare. They mock Naofumi for not being with the other heroes. Monsters attack the knights, and Naofumi helps defend them. The knight leader tells them to leave the village and assist the other heroes. Some knights refuse, inspired by Naofumi's bravery. They defeat the monsters, and the wave ends. Naofumi attends a celebration at the palace with Raphtalia to receive his reward. Madoyasu challenges Naofumi to a duel. He says if Naofumi loses, he must free Raphtalia, who Madoyasu believes is brainwashed. Naofumi hesitates, but then Raphtalia is captured by palace guards. The king orders a duel between them, even though he knows Naofumi can't fight without Raphtalia. The duel begins. Madoyasu attacks, but Naofumi easily deflects his attacks. They exchange more strikes, and Naofumi uses a balloon monster to hit Madoyasu. He then uses his shield to hit and imprison Madoyasu. Naofumi tells Madoyasu to admit defeat, and he'll release him. But then, Mine interferes and throws a magic spell at Naofumi. Motoyasu seizes the opportunity and defeats Naofumi using his lightning spear. People cheer for Motoyasu, but Naofumi gets up and explains that the duel was unfair due to Mine's interference. Motoyasu and the king don't believe him. They take Raphtalia away and remove her slave crest, ending her connection with Naofumi's party. Naofumi despairs and falls to the ground, regretting coming to this world. Rin and Itsuki confirm that Mine interfered, but Motoyasu refuses to accept it. Raphtalia slaps Motoyasu, then hugs Naofumi, promising to stay by his side forever. This breaks the curse of vengeance in Naofumi and fills him with warmth. Naofumi goes back to the slave trader with Raphtalia, and they spot a bunch of eggs. These eggs turn out to be monster eggs. Naofumi takes one egg, hoping for a rare monster to hatch from it. The next day, the egg hatches, revealing a plump bird called a philolial. Naofumi names it Philo. In just 2 days, Philo grows to its full size. Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo visit the Loot village. They're surprised to see Motoyasu and Mine claiming authority over the village due to a royal decree. They also plan to raise taxes. Naofumi tries to stop excessive taxes but gets interrupted by Queen's envoys with a message for Mine. Mine challenges Naofumi to a race for control of the village. Motoyasu teases Naofumi about Philo being weaker than his dragon. Philo playfully kicks Motoyasu, and Naofumi and Philo smile broadly, surprising Raphtalia. Naofumi decides to race against Motoyasu, who rides a dragon. Despite soldiers using magic to cheat in Motoyasu's favor, Naofumi wins. Queen's envoys expose Mine's tactics, and she admits defeat. On their way back, Philo undergoes a transformation, turning into a girl with wings. Naofumi seeks help from Elhart, who directs them to the dressmaker. The dressmaker sends them to the magic shop owner, who needs a new magic gemstone to power her loom. By chance, Naofumi joins a rich traders group, defeating bandits on the way. This impresses the trader, leading to Naofumi gaining new abilities and connections. He also obtains a permit for discounted quarry access. Naofumi's party starts a journey to find the magic gemstone. They explore an abandoned alchemist tomb rumored to hold a cursed seed. They find the seed missing, but they face creatures and discover a vein of gems. A fierce battle with a fearsome creature ensues. Naofumi, Raphtalia, Philo, and the witch work together to claim the gemstone they were searching for. The magic shop owner helps Philo weave a special thread to make a dress that fits her no matter how she changes. Naofumi's group is tasked with delivering herbicide to a village. They find the village under attack by a dangerous plant. The plant was grown from a seed Motoyasu used to end a famine, but it turned harmful. Naofumi faces the plant and wins, making the seeds harmless. Despite helping, the villagers can't pay Naofumi, so he plans to sell the seeds. The trader offers Naofumi a job delivering goods to a hot springs village. While there, Raphtalia gets envious of Philo's time with Naofumi. She learns about a special gem collected by a local bird and decides to retrieve it as a gift. Philo is more interested in bird eggs. They face a fierce silver boar and defeat it, gaining valuable items to sell. They buy a tool for Naofumi's work. Upon hearing about a disease caused by a mishandled dragon corpse, Naofumi's party investigates. They find that Ren, the sword hero, left the dragon's body to rot, causing poison to spread. Many adventurers collapse because of it. They confront the dragon's remains, but Philo recklessly fights the transformed zombie dragon and gets eaten. Naofumi defends against the dragon using his cursed shield, fueled by anger. He loses control and becomes consumed by his hatred. After regaining composure, Naofumi realizes Raphtalia is hurt from trying to stop him. Philo bursts out of the dragon's belly, having consumed a crystal that powered it. Philo finds another crystal, but Naofumi can't use it yet due to his level. Returning to the village, Naofumi discovers that Raphtalia's wounds from the cursed shield require high-grade holy water to heal. He feels bad about unintentionally hurting his companions and decides to become stronger. He realizes the need to protect them better and to grow in strength. On their way to the capital to find holy water, they meet a girl named Malty with blue hair, accompanied by some philolials. Philo and Malty quickly become friends. Malty got separated from her guards and wants to join Naofumi's journey. In the capital, Philo and Malty go their own ways, and Naofumi and Raphtalia head to the church for holy water. The clergy offers low-quality holy water, but Naofumi notices and catches the Pope's attention. The Pope apologizes and gives high-grade holy water. Motoyasu, now aware of Philo, attacks Naofumi demanding Philo's freedom. Naofumi points out Motoyasu's recklessness. In the market, villagers argue as Motoyasu attacks Naofumi, supported by Mine. Things escalate, and Malty intervenes, criticizing Mine's behavior. In a Philo transforms and delivers a powerful kick to Motoyasu. At Elhart's shop, Malty reveals she's the second princess chosen by the queen due to her sister's behavior. Naofumi distrusts the royal family and dismisses her. Knights inform them that Malty's summoned by the king. Another group of knights approaches Naofumi, wanting to join him in the upcoming wave. Naofumi asks them to prove loyalty by paying coins. As Raphtalia and Philo prepare for class upgrades, a decree forbids using Mel's dragon hourglass. Valakas suggests heading to Shield Frieden for their hourglass, but the next wave approaches. In towns, they find starving refugees from an Itsuki-caused revolution. Near the wave, they meet Ren and Itsuki at a pub. Naofumi accuses Itsuki of stealing their rewards and causing problems. He explains the consequences of their actions. Ren starts believing Naofumi, but Itsuki remains stubborn. Afterward, Elhart upgrades Naofumi's armor, and the loot party brings back the promised 150 silver coins. Naofumi tells them to use the money to buy better gear so they can fight well. Impressed by their dedication, he welcomes them into his party. Just before the next wave, they equip Raphtalia and Philo and add the loot party, led by Captain Knight Ake. The wave begins, with Ake focusing on protecting civilians while Naofumi's party battles monsters. In the midst of the fight, Naofumi notices an elderly woman defeating monsters with skill. He realizes she's the same woman he helped before, who used to be an adventurer. Despite her age, she's not letting the monsters get the best of her. After hours of fighting, Naofumi becomes worried about the progress of the other heroes. He leaves Ake's party with the elderly woman to safeguard civilians. When Naofumi finds the other hero parties, he's disappointed to see them recklessly attacking without attention. He guides them to the true enemy lurking in the shadows, a powerful soul eater. To defeat it, Naofumi reluctantly uses his cursed shield, which holds the spirit of the zombie dragon. The dragon's soul is furious at Ren and Naofumi for how they treated it. Naofumi manages to regain control of himself and taps into a new power called the Iron Maiden. He uses this power to secure a hard-fought victory in the battle. As the battle ends, Naofumi and Philo return to their normal state, relieving Raphtalia, who was worried about them. However, their triumph doesn't last long, as a second Soul Eater appears, surprising everyone. A new rival named Glass arrives on the scene, dressed in a black kimono and wielding twin-bladed war fans. She taunts the heroes for struggling against the Soul Eater and challenges Naofumi's position as the real hero. Glass becomes the true enemy of the current wave, leaving everyone shocked. It seems like Naofumi's group has a new opponent to face, and Glass is no easy opponent. Glass proves to be formidable, easily defeating the other hero parties and standing strong against their attacks. Despite their efforts and the support of Raphtalia and Philo, Naofumi's party struggles to land a blow on Glass. Recognizing the need to regroup and find a new strategy, Naofumi calls for a tactical retreat. Glass attempts long-range attacks while Naofumi and Raphtalia try to escape by riding on Philo's back. Glass eventually retreats when the time limit for the waves expires, resulting in a stalemate. After the intense battle, Naofumi reflects on the purpose and time limits of the waves. However, his thoughts are interrupted when he's summoned back to the castle by Alcree, who is curious about Naofumi's extraordinary abilities. Naofumi boldly demands that Alcree kneels and begs for the information, just as it's done in his world. Alcree becomes really angry and tries to scare Naofumi by bringing the knights into the situation. However, Naofumi easily intimidates the knights by reminding them of how he defeated the big monster boss during the wave. Then, the king threatens Naofumi, saying he will hurt Philo and Raphtalia. However, Naofumi isn't scared. He warns Alcree that bad things will happen if he keeps threatening him. How little he knows that Naofumi is like a protective mama bear guarding his companions. As he leaves the castle, a woman secretly warns Naofumi about a conspiracy against him by the church. Meanwhile, Malty, the second princess, tries to make her father reconcile with Naofumi, hoping to mend their broken relationship. However, her older sister Mounty worsens the situation. To help Naofumi on his journey, Elhart provides the party with necessary travel gear and supplies. It's like a shopping spree, but with armor, swords, and potions. With everything ready, Naofumi's party sets off for Shield Frieden, where Raphtalia and Philo can level up their skills and become even stronger. During their journey, they unexpectedly encounter Melty, who urges Naofumi to reconcile with Alcree. Sensing something strange, like the time when he was falsely accused, Naofumi becomes wary. Just before one of Melty's bodyguards tries to assassinate her, Naofumi quickly shields her, protecting her from harm. He springs into action, like a real-life superhero, guarding Melty from the attacking knights. They wrongly accuse him of holding her hostage, distorting the scene and creating a different image that's shown to the whole kingdom. But fear not, because Naofumi manages to repel their accusations smoothly. During the confrontation, Naofumi finds a pendant on one of the guards who belongs to the Church of the Three Heroes, a group holding a grudge against him. Maybe they're just jealous of his stylish shield collection. Inside the royal palace, a group of wizards manipulates the recording of Naofumi's supposed kidnapping of Melty, twisting the truth and making Naofumi a wanted fugitive. Aware of the dire circumstances, Naofumi and his party come up with a plan to protect Melty and find a solution. They embark on a challenging journey through the mountains, aiming to reach the nearby land of Siltfelt. Leaving the wagon behind to avoid capture by the Royal Knights, it's like an extreme sports challenge but with more sword fights than skateboards. During their travels, Malty steps on a loose rock and hangs from a cliff. Naofumi quickly catches her, but this accidentally alerts nearby guards and draws the attention of the other 3 heroes as well. It's like a game of hide and seek, but with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. As Malty tries to explain the truth of the situation, Malty, Naofumi's accuser, orders everyone to ignore her words, claiming she's been brainwashed by Naofumi. Mine falsely claims that Naofumi possesses a shield capable of brainwashing people, which he supposedly used on Raphtalia, Philo, and now on Malty as well. Unfortunately, the other heroes fall for Malty's deception. They ask Naofumi for evidence to clear his name, but he can't provide any. He tries to escape with Malty, but Madoyasu uses a magical shackle to immobilize Philo, stopping her from transforming. Faced with this problem, Naofumi uses the power of his Rage Shield to break free. Seeing Mine's reckless actions, Itsuki and Ren start doubting their loyalty to her since she doesn't care about Malty's safety. Recognizing the importance of the church's pendant, Naofumi gives it to Ren, urging him to investigate the church's actions. With his plan set, Naofumi leaves the scene. Surprisingly, one of Myelia's emissaries appears. She wants Naofumi to meet Myelia. Naofumi realizes she's the same woman who warned him about the church's conspiracy. Despite the tempting offer, he stays focused on his mission to reach Siltfelt and upgrade Raphtalia and Philo's abilities. Meanwhile, Mine sets a forest on fire to force Naofumi out of hiding. To escape the dangerous flames, Naofumi's party finds an alternate route. Unfortunately, the border to Siltfelt is closed by a royal decree. With no other choice, Naofumi decides to meet Queen Myelia. On their journey, they meet nobleman Van Reichnot, who knows Malty. They rest at his mansion, but Naofumi remains cautious. Reichnot learns about their situation and offers shelter, but he's suddenly arrested due to a report from a neighboring governor about Naofumi's presence. This sends Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Malty into panic mode. The maids hide Naofumi and Raphtalia in the kitchen pantry for safety. Meanwhile, Malty distracts the knights to buy time for her companions. The leader of the knights, nobleman Idle Rapier, arrives and takes Malty to his mansion. Seeing Raphtalia's unease, Naofumi assures her they must let Malty's plan unfold. After Rapier leaves, Naofumi finds Philo and they head to Rapier's estate. Outside the mansion, demi-humans loyal to Reichnot begin to lay siege, demanding his release. Naofumi uses this opportunity to secretly enter the castle, knowing it's their best chance to rescue both Malty and Reichnot. Inside the castle walls, a horrifying scene awaits them. Rapier has cruelly tortured Reichnot in front of Malty, deriving pleasure from it. Naofumi breaks into the manor and rescues Malty and Reichnot from their captor. In the chaos, Raphtalia confronts Rapier, who reveals his pitiable true nature. Facing her nightmare, Raphtalia remembers her village being destroyed during the first wave. The monsters attacked, soldiers from Melromarc captured and enslaved the villagers, including her friend Rifana. Eventually, they were sold to Idle Rapier, who treated them cruelly. Rifana died, and Rapier sold her to Balenka, leading her to meet Naofumi. Back in the present, Raphtalia is angry and ready to strike back at Rapier for the suffering he caused. But Naofumi reminds her of her growth and encourages her to think about the consequences of revenge. Moved by his words, Raphtalia spares Rapier's life, understanding that killing him won't heal her wounds. Rapier is infuriated and battles Raphtalia fiercely. She draws on her mana sword's power, wounds Rapier, and he falls out of a window. With Rapier defeated, Raphtalia, with Reichnot's help, finds an underground jail where demi-human survivors are kept. She finds her old friend Keel there. Her world shatters when she discovers Rafana's remains in a prison cell. Overwhelmed by guilt, Raphtalia blames herself for not saving her friend. Naofumi opens up to her, expressing how she restored his faith and helped him heal. His words comfort Raphtalia and remind her of her strength. Reassured by Naofumi's trust and support, Raphtalia vows to return to her homeland one day, rebuild her village, and give Rafana a proper burial. However, tranquility doesn't last. In the castle courtyard, despite his injuries, Rapier unleashes a powerful ancient monster resembling a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This creature, once confined and sealed, is now unleashed upon Naofumi, posing a new threat. Fatoria approaches Naofumi and suggests he works together with the other heroes. She points out the difference between saving the world overall and saving individual people. Victoria warns that the heroes will face this important choice eventually. Additionally, Victoria emphasizes that the heroes aren't fully ready to fight the waves if they don't unite their strengths. She promises to eliminate them if they fail. To help Naofumi, she enhances his armor to resist the negative effects of the Rage Shield. Observing her actions, Naofumi realizes she might have been raised by a previous shield hero, connecting their histories. However, due to the passage of time, Fatoria can't recall this part of her past. In the kingdom of Melromarc, Itsuki's and Ren's parties find a hidden cave during their exploration. Unfortunately, they're attacked from above, causing the cave to collapse and trapping them. Vittoria guides Naofumi's group to a place near another hero, hoping they can start mending their differences. After parting ways with Vittoria, Naofumi's party reaches an outpost and unexpectedly encounters Madoyasu. Naofumi tries to reason with him and clear misunderstandings, but Madoyasu refuses to listen. He accuses Naofumi of causing the deaths of Ren and Itsuki, and Malty adds to the accusations. The confrontation turns into a battle between their parties, with shields clashing and swords swinging. Despite level differences, Naofumi's group wins the clash. While catching their breath, Philo senses danger from above. Philo suggests Naofumi use multiple shields for protection just as a massive light beam descends, destroying everything. Pope Bomas and his followers are behind the attack. Pope Thomas, with his bad intentions, planned to kill Ren and Itsuki as part of a bigger scheme to get rid of the so-called fake heroes and the princess. He wanted to overthrow the king. Armed with a magical sword, Pope Thomas is now preparing to attack both parties with strong powers. Melty cleverly figures out that Pope Thomas has an old weapon that can copy the powers of the 4 main weapons that were thought to be lost in the past. This gives him a big advantage. Both Naofumi and Madoyasu can't fight back against this strong weapon. It gets its power from many loyal followers commanded by Pope Thomas. At this crucial time, Ren and Itsuki unexpectedly show up. They were saved by elite forces led by Morelia, called the Shadows. This is like a surprise team-up where unexpected allies work together to save the day. They bring good news that Morelia herself is leading an army to fight the church, which won't surrender. As the heroes join forces to face Pope Thomas, Naofumi is still doubtful and doesn't want to fully cooperate. He reminds them of the harm they caused before and how they messed up their responsibilities. Because of this, the church labeled them as fakes and tried to take over the government. During their talk, Pope Thomas attacks, but Naofumi defends his friends. He compares the other heroes to the Pope, showing they both made mistakes. Reluctantly, he agrees to work with them because of his promise to Vittoria. They form a shaky alliance, hoping to save the day. Now, the 4 main heroes are together against Pope Thomas, but he's not giving up easily. He traps them in a magical cathedral, making things more urgent. They're stuck inside this special place, unable to break free. Inside the cathedral, Naofumi notices his rage shield is weaker. Pope Thomas tries a big attack by draining his followers' power, even if it puts their lives in danger. He's like a boss willing to sacrifice his minions to cause chaos. To keep everyone safe, Naofumi decides to take a big risk. He lets out the dragon's soul inside his rage shield. He puts on special armor, but he struggles to control his anger. With help from Raphtalia, Philo, and Melty, they calm Naofumi down. But they all get burned by the cursed flames. Even with the challenge, Naofumi focuses on stopping Boma's attack. The other heroes team up to break through his defenses. Naofumi charges at Boma's on Philo, setting him on fire. But Boma's fights back and almost wins. Suddenly, Queen Maelia's army comes to help. Naofumi uses his blood sacrifice power, where he hurts himself to deliver a strong attack. They defeat Bomas and destroy his weapon. The heroes win, and Queen Maelia thanks them. She promises to bring justice to those who betrayed them and restore peace to the kingdom. After resting for 3 days, Queen Maelia apologizes for the trouble caused by the church. She reveals she wanted to summon a hero from a different nation originally. The next day, Queen Maelia takes action. She removes Ulcree from power and punishes Mine for her crimes. But when it's time for the execution, Naofumi stops it. He suggests a different punishment. He proposes that Mine's name be changed to Bitch and Ulcree's name be changed to Trash. They have to be called by these names from now on. The queen agrees and spares their lives under this condition. She ends the Church of the 3 Heroes and brings back the original religion that worshipped all 4 heroes. With these problems solved, Naofumi's party gets ready to say goodbye to Melty. She stays at the castle while they keep fighting the waves. As they leave, Queen Maelia tells Melty that she was willing to sacrifice herself to stop the execution. But Naofumi's idea changed the outcome. The queen shows her kind heart in this moment. While leaving the city, Naofumi and his group receive a heartfelt farewell from the people of Melromarc. It's like a warm goodbye from friends who now understand Naofumi's true value. This moment brings reconciliation and acceptance to Naofumi as he embraces his role as the shield hero. Naofumi and his friends head to the Dragon Hourglass to become stronger, but the ceremony doesn't go as planned. Only Naofumi gets the upgrades while Raphtalia and Philo don't. Queen Maelia suspects Vittoria's blessing might be causing the issue. During a big meal, the 4 heroes have a secret meeting. It's like when you and your friends find a quiet spot to talk about anime theories without any interruptions. During the meeting, Raphtalia fights with a drunk member of the Bow party named Mel because he insulted Naofumi. This sparks a fight between the different hero groups. Meanwhile, Melty stops someone from trying to poison Raphtalia and Philo's food. During the meeting, Queen Mailia tells the heroes about a special event called the Calmera Archipelago. They can earn extra experience points there, which will help them level up before the next big challenge. The heroes also share information about the hidden abilities of their weapons, including a way to copy special weapons. It's like a show and tell session but with dangerous weapons instead of toys. However, they start arguing about the best way to level up, so Naofumi gets upset and leaves. It's like a heated debate about the best anime. Let's hope they don't start throwing pillows at each other. The next day, Naofumi copies all of Elhart's shields and then visits Raphtalia's old village. He wants to pay his respects to Raphtalia's friend Rafana, who passed away. It's a sad moment that reminds them of the sacrifices the heroes have made. While there, he briefly meets two travelers. The next morning, Naofumi and his group board a ship to Calmera. Because the other heroes took most of the cabins, Naofumi's group has to share a room with the two travelers, Alark and Therese Alexandrite. Alark and Therese introduce themselves to Naofumi's party but mistake his name for a fake one because they've heard negative things about the shield hero. When they arrive at Calmera, Governor Habenberg takes Naofumi's group to the resort. While the other heroes feel sick after the boat ride, Naofumi learns a new spell called boosting and takes his group to battle monsters and gain experience points all over the island. It's like a summer vacation filled with battles and defeating monsters. Quite an unconventional kind of fun. He also creates new weapons for Raphtalia and Philo using materials from the monsters they defeat. It's like a do-it-yourself crafting session where weapons become the ultimate style statement. At night, Alark and Therese, worried about Naofumi, invite his group to a party at a diner to end the day. It's like a surprise get-together where new friendships are formed. Therese asks Naofumi to make her an accessory, and he creates a beautiful item using a rare gem, which makes her very happy. It's like a fashion designer revealing their masterpiece on the runway. The next day, Naofumi teams up with Lark and Therese to earn experience points together. Naofumi discovers that Therese's magical flames actually heal him when he's around them. It's like finding a hidden power just when you need it most, a lucky surprise. As the sun sets, Lark and Therese bid farewell and thank Naofumi for the day, hoping to meet again soon. It's like saying goodbye to new friends after a wonderful day. While Naofumi's group is relaxing on the beach, Philo finds an underwater temple. This sparks Naofumi's curiosity to explore it, like stumbling upon a hidden treasure in a video game. At the temple, Naofumi's shield opens the door and they find a dragon hourglass inside. By connecting with it, Naofumi learns that the next big challenge, called the Wave, will occur at Calmera in 48 hours. Upon learning about the upcoming wave, Naofumi informs Queen Mailia, who gathers a large fleet to prepare for battle. Lark and Therese also join the fleet and sail toward the waves. As the navy battles smaller creatures, the four heroes confront a powerful boss monster. However, their attacks are ineffective, and it's Lark and Therese who defeat the boss, showing that unexpected allies can come from unexpected places. Surprisingly, Lark and Therese turn against the heroes, revealing that they come from a different world also facing the waves. They believe that to save their own world, they must eliminate the four heroes. Lark easily overpowers the other heroes, while Therese occupies the navy, leaving only Naofumi's party to face them. In the ensuing battle, Lark and Therese initially have the advantage, finding weaknesses in Naofumi's defenses. However, with Malty's assistance, Naofumi's party uses clever tactics to wound Lark. Just as victory seems near, Glass arrives, revealing her alliance with Lark and Therese. She's impressed by Naofumi's strength and prepares to face him again. Naofumi engages in a one-on-one battle with Glass, who discloses that she's a hero from Lark's world known as the Fan Hero. During the fight, Naofumi realizes that Glass is vulnerable to his Soul Eater shield, but he hesitates to kill her because she's protecting her own world. Raphtalia steps in and reminds Naofumi of the people who need their protection in their world. Meanwhile, Mailia teams up with Risha Ivy Red, a novice from the Bow Party, to intoxicate Glass using barrels of strong alcohol. Glass gets intoxicated, and Lark and Therese retreat as the time limit for the wave expires. Back in Calmera, Naofumi reflects on the revelation of other worlds fighting the waves and Fitoria's words. He decides to recruit Risha into his party. Sailing back to the mainland, Naofumi accepts Mailia's reward of becoming the Lord of Sayat. He trusts his companions to help rebuild the territory. As Naofumi and Raphtalia oversee the village's reconstruction, the other heroes also grow stronger. This brings an end to Season 1. If you also want Season 2, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel AnieExplainer.